ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Elmore deep, left side three, good! From 30 feet, John Elmore!
The Drive with Paul Swann.
Welcome in, Paul Swann, your host for this Tuesday edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Glad you're along with us. We're getting you closer to Marshall and Eastern Kentucky. We'll get your phone calls in, 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. Labor Day was fun yesterday. If you missed the show, I'm going to have some of those interviews posted later this week online. We played back a lot of interviews from coaches and player interviews. Yesterday was player interviews. Today is going to be Don Colladay. We'll have him coming up here in a little bit. Also, a couple interviews that I didn't get a chance to get to yesterday. Alex Millette, Obi Obialo. We're going to hear from those guys. And if you didn't hear from the players yesterday, there's one soundbite we're going to play for you. Malik Thompson ratting out Doc Holliday. I'm just going to set that up now. We'll hear from him and then Doc's reply to that later on. So I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a fun week to talk about Eastern Kentucky. Marshall and Eastern Kentucky, they haven't played in 25 years. That's crazy. They have not played in that long of a span. I mean, if you look at how far apart these two schools are, we're talking maybe a couple hours, 120 miles, something like that. So why aren't they playing more? Of course, well, Eastern Kentucky is an FCS school. Marshall's an FBS school. But once upon a time, they played a lot in the FCS championship, the playoffs. So that was fun football. So I'm looking forward to that coming up on Saturday. So we'll talk more about that here from Doc Holliday a little bit later on. But we want to open the phone lines up because we haven't had a chance to do that in the last couple of days, yesterday being Labor Day. And Richard was first in line. He wanted to be on the program, so he called in early. And I'm not going to have him wait. Richard checking in from St. Albans. He is up on the drive. Go ahead, Richard.
Hey, bud. Hey, I appreciate it. I'm up in an area where we can't hear you, so I wanted to call in early. I've got a crawl. Do you remember when Marshall played West Virginia at home?
Yeah, years ago.
Okay. Do you remember that was the last time Marshall got to play Country Road?
Well, if I understand this correctly, if I remember this correctly, there were a lot of fans who didn't like that because that song is more identified with West Virginia University than with Marshall.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's what some of it was. There was some complaint that some fans felt that, all right, this isn't Marshall's song. This is a song that West Virginia University is playing and singing. So we want our own thing. So I think that's what happened there. I'm going to have to research that a little bit. It's been a few years, but I do believe that's part of why you don't hear Country Roads. Yeah, I know Marshall's a school. Go ahead.
The band director also made up a song where he had all three West Virginia songs in it. They stopped that too. I don't remember all three of them are, but he had they called it something where he created the song with all three. When West Virginia stands up there at the end and they sing Country Road, it just gets in my crawl. It's just, I'm sorry, it's just something else that I don't like about that university. But if the fans say they don't want it, that's great.
It's a great song. I mean, it's the best song about Virginia that I've ever heard.
Virginia?
It's about Virginia. Come on.
Well,
Shenandoah River. Let's drive to the Shenandoah River. Where's the majority of that at?
Yeah, I never thought about that. You're right. It is about Virginia.
It's about Western Virginia. Virginia. That's what it's about. That's not about West Virginia. The only thing about West Virginia in that song is country roads. That's it. There are lots of country roads in the state.
Okay, you settled me down. I've been a 70-year-old being on that. It just got to my crawl when they stopped. I said, "You son of a gun!" I said, "You're not the only university, but I'm going to from now consider that a Virginia song, and I'm not going to worry about it."
I'm not worried about it. Yeah. It's a Virginia song. It's a Virginia song. I mean, if somebody wants to go take a bus tour of all the locations, how much time you're going to spend in Virginia and how much time you're going to spend in West Virginia. It's a Virginia song. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about that. At 70 years old, you got bigger things to worry about than Mountaineer fans singing that.
I enjoyed the homecoming game Saturday. I really thought that was really cool. That I was going to drive up there, but then I heard there was going to be a storm. I can't imagine our poor guys sitting in the locker room that long waiting to play. But I'm going to be there Saturday, rain, snow, sleet or hail, buddy. I'm ready for it. I got my 3 tickets and I got my dog. We're going to go, and I don't care what it does. We're going to be there.
There you go. Yeah, because this is going to be a fun time for some fans who remember Eastern Kentucky. Now, this isn't the rivalry it once was. It's not a rivalry anymore, but back in the day, oh yeah, you wanted to get after Eastern Kentucky, so this will be fun.
Well, I want to see personally the new quarterback. I enjoyed the young man. I really thought he showed some spunk, and I think we got it this year. I'm not going to wait for the fat lady to sing. I'm going to be there. But thanks for clearing that up for
me. Just don't worry about it. If someone asks you about that song, Blue Ridge Mountains and Shenandoah River are primarily located in Virginia. I mean, they touch West Virginia, but for the most part, you're singing about the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia and the Shenandoah River in Virginia. Don't worry about it. Don't lose any sleep over it.
I always call Morgantown the Pittsburgh, Virginia, Maryland, D.C. school anyway. So
that's probably the nicest thing that's been said about that city, at least from Herschel fans.
I tell you, I'm sorry, I haven't liked them for 60-some years, and I'm not going to start.
What about the first few years of your life? What were you doing then? Just like, from birth to 5, you didn't care?
I was with my dad, and we were sitting at the Fairfield Stadium watching the football games.
Okay.
And then I was at the watching Red and Stone and D'Antoni play basketball. I was there, buddy. I was also there when the game where the West Virginia player took his jersey off, threw it on the ground, and went over and sat in the Marshall Stadium. Check that one out. That's been a long time ago in basketball.
That was a ways ago, but there you go. I'm glad I can lower your blood pressure. You're not going to worry about that anymore. It's not a thing to worry about.
I'm going to go to the doctor and have him check it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. That is Richard in St. Albans. Don't forget, it's been a while, but I do remind you now that I am therapy for the Tri-State. Country Roads, don't worry about that. I mean, it's a wonderful song, and yes, the Shenandoah River and the Blue Ridge Mountains do touch West Virginia, but they're primarily in Virginia, and I'm not losing any sleep over it. I thought it was amazing that West Virginia and Tennessee, you heard all those fans sing that song. I thought that was great. I just don't lose sleep over that. I'm worried about things that Marshall do, Marshall traditions. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about country roads. You can have the country roads. It's about Virginia, but you can have it. There you go. Don't lose any sleep over it. All right. When we come back, we're going to get into Doc Holliday's presser. We'll hear from him. We will take your phone calls as well. Got a couple of player interviews from yesterday that we'll get into, and we'll do it all when we come back from break. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Now, back to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the September 4th edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Today was Doc Holliday's press conference, week 2. Doc's always in a good mood. Doc's in a good mood week 1 because he finally gets to coach a game. Doc's in a good mood week 2 because he won week 1. So it's always fun to go cover Doc when he's coming off a victory. Not to say he's in a bad mood when they lose, but it's more fun. As Doc says, the food tastes better, everything's better. So Doc was in a good mood today. So Doc addressing the media earlier this afternoon didn't spend too much time on the game against Miami. He's looking forward now to Eastern Kentucky. So here's Doc Holliday's opening statement and remarks to the media.
Okay, just Miami, real quick, and we're moving on here, of course. But I thought the one thing I was happy about our football team is I thought, with the adversity you face in that locker room for 4 to 5 hours, and then that's tough when you're on the road with those delays, and then have to go out. And I thought we came out and were prepared to play and started fast, which was good. So about the biggest thing about that came out of that game is, unfortunately, they didn't turn the ball over, neither did we. I thought offensively we took care of the football, which was huge. We got to create more turnovers on defense, and then we got to shore up a couple things on special teams. But for the most part, I was pretty pleased with the first performance. This Eastern Kentucky team, when you watch them on tape, I mean, their starting defensive nose guard was started at Notre Dame at one time. They got linebackers at Tennessee. They got starting tailback Scott was the guy who started for Louisville a couple years ago. So they got 2 defensive ends that can play for anybody. They had 5 sacks against Kentucky a year ago and had a chance to beat Kentucky on the road at Kentucky. So, I mean, nobody needs to think this team is a team that's going to come in here and can't play, because they can. They got good players and they're well coached. So this week will be no different than the other week. We got to make sure we do a great job, preparing for these guys and be ready to play, because I come in here all the time and say somebody's going to get beat. You shouldn't. Every week it happens. And if you look at last week, there was about 3 or 4 1AA teams that beat 1A teams, and it'll happen again this week somewhere. So we just got to make sure it's not us.
Eastern Kentucky, if you didn't look at their game against Morehead State, they ran the ball a lot. They racked up 404 rushing yards. Now, they've got some pretty talented guys. Morehead State, sure, it's Morehead State, but you rack up 404 yards. They had 160 yards passing, 404 on the ground. So obviously they like to run the ball, and they saw something with Morehead that they could take advantage of. They're going to put it on the ground. The question was asked of Doc, what does EKU do so well with that rushing attack?
I mean, that Scott kid's a good player, and they got 2 or 3 tailbacks that can play for about anybody, and they run extremely hard. You put that tape on from a week ago, and not just last week, but turn them on against Kentucky last year, and people that people think are pretty good, and they do a good job running the football, and they're committed to doing that, and I'm sure they'll come in here and try to run against us.
Now, Marshall, they're pretty good running as well. Not 404 yards worth, but Marshall put 171 on the ground, 272 passing, but they put 171 on the ground, opened up against Miami, had a couple of really good drives, ran the ball in. So the running attack is there, and Doc's got he's been working on this. Doc's got a full house package that I think is going to be very successful for him. And Doc talked about that full house package, the way they load it up and run the ball. And here's his thoughts on what they're trying to do and why they're doing it.
Yeah, something that we worked on since last spring with some, Anthony Anderson's a big back that we're taking advantage of his skill set, and Tim's done a nice job of developing some goal line package along with Greg. Greg Ack has brought some things with him from more places he's been. So, was pleased. We had a couple short, couple 4-minute situations. You'd like to finish it early on there, coming out from the goal line. We put ourselves in a real bad situation. We'd like to have gotten a first down there and ran clock, and the same thing there at the end, which we ended up running it out. But for the most part, I thought we ran the ball pretty well, and we're doing a good job of getting Keon and Tyler and of course Anthony involved. And all 4 of those tight ends played. And they both, all 4 of them, bring a little bit different skill set to the table. And I thought Tim did a nice job of mixing and matching those guys and putting them in a position to make plays.
One player that was focused on from Eastern Kentucky is Austin Scott. So here's Doc's thoughts on him.
He's a big back. It's a talented guy, and like I say, he started at Louisville at one time and was a starter there. And they liked him. We talked to the people there at Louisville who, of course, their strength staff used to be our strength staff here, and they think he's a extremely tough kid. That's a talented guy that's got a lot of ability. So, we'll have to do a great job of getting him on the ground and tackling him this week.
Now, the last few days after the game on Saturday, everyone that has come up to talk to me about the game, Isaiah Green. Isaiah Green comes out. We don't really feel surprised that he's going to be the guy getting the start. And he comes out 24 of 37 passing, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he's basically a young man who a lot of people say grew up on Saturday in that performance against Miami. And so Doc talked a little bit about him and that performance against Miami.
Yeah, I thought I saw a kid that was extremely composed for a freshman to go out and take care of the ball the way he did. I felt that was number one. I thought number two, he made good decisions, and I thought sometimes we see quarterbacks, and we talk about all the time having the when things break down, good things happen, and that seemed like with him, he finds a way to, he keeps his eyes down the field, and when things do break down, he's able to make plays, which I think is huge for a young player.
Making plays, that's something that comes up a lot when you talk about Tyree Brady. 9 receptions, 116 yards, caught touchdown passes for 30 and 21 yards in the second half. Third multi-touchdown game of his 2-year career at Marshall. 4th 100-yard receiving performance. Yeah, this kid can catch the ball, and he made some unbelievable catches out there. Doc talked about that.
I'm glad he's on our team. I mean, he's just. I mean, and you know what? We talked this morning, and we'll make a point of it in our team meeting here this afternoon prior to going to practice. But you watch just the way the guy goes to work every day. I mean, you guys are around here. You're probably writing stories, and 30 minutes after practice, he's down there working on his game. Catching balls off the jug machines, and and he just loves the game, and he works extremely hard at what he does, and he's good at what he does, and whatever he gets, he deserves because he sure works hard at it.
Yeah, he definitely works hard. I mean, you cannot take anything away from him. And another guy Doc talked about a little bit was Malik Gant. Malik is he's a guy that I really like talking to. He's also somebody who's out there who I think is working hard, doing everything right, does what the team asks of him. He's humble. He'll play wherever he's told to play to help the team. And Doc talked a little bit about him and his evolution on this team.
Well, he's a guy that we talked about it yesterday in the meeting. He's a guy that first game last year didn't play a snap and hadn't played a snap for us, and came in and was really disappointed he didn't get to play, but didn't pout, kept working extremely hard. By the end of last year, he was one of our better defensive linemen, and heck, he was our champion yesterday in that game Saturday. I mean, here's a guy that just continued to work extremely hard and didn't pout about what was going on. Just wanted to get better as a player, and went out there and played extremely well. And he's a really good player right now, and playing really at a high level for us.
To follow up on that, he's a guy who's worked his way through this team, and he's proof that just doing what you need to do, making plays, helping the team, and good things are going to happen to you. A follow-up question to Doc was, how important is his message? And here's what Doc had to say.
Well, it's a huge message. Most of the kids that you get recruited at this level, they've played their whole life, and all of a sudden they get up there in that first game and they sitting over watching, and it's hard on them. But they got to learn to grow up, and we've had a couple guys go in on, for example, Gilmore went in on that punt return and got a key block to Spring Tyler, on that run that he made there that helped us win the game. And so Gilmore will play more. He showed us on special teams he can go in there and make a play and help us, and which now he'll earn our trust now to go out and play more on defense and other special teams. So, things like that. There were a lot of examples like that happened, on Saturday that were young players. We take great pride around here of earning the trust of young players on special teams. And if they can run down and make a play on kickoff and help, Joe Early's another guy that did a really good job on a couple of special teams that helped us win that game. So, young players will earn playing time on offense and defense by the way they perform on special teams, and if they do well there, then they're going to get more play on offense and defense.
Another guy that I'm excited to see more of out in the field is Xavier Gaines, pretty speedy wide receiver. And Doc was asked about that, so he talks about how his presence, how he adds such a speed dynamic to Marshall.
He does. And like I mentioned earlier here today, that all four of those guys, and they all four played, played pretty well. So, Cody Mitchell brings a different skill set than X, and of course Armani Vice, a little bigger body. It's a little bit of a combination of both. And then we got the young freshman in there. Miller is a good football player. He went in and played a couple critical snaps. Number one on the punt team, but two, he played a couple snaps on offense too. So, those guys all have a different skill set, and Todd and Tim have done a good job of mixing and matching those guys and taking advantage of what those skill sets are.
Finally, before we get into the fun part of Doc's presser today, the new red shirt rule.
Well,
you've got a few opportunities to get out there. It's not going to hurt you, and so if a guy's needed one game, he's not going to blow a year. I think it's a great rule. Now, there's maybe an opportunity for some kids to get into the game on Saturday. Doc maybe doesn't feel so as much, but he was asked about that. Are you going to be playing any red shirts for the EKU game? And here's what he said.
Well, I don't know that. I think number one, you as I mentioned before, you better play your best players. You better be prepared to play. You'll get beat. So, we're going to do whatever we got to do to win the game, and if they can help us go win that game as Gilmore did on Saturday, then yes, they'll play. I'm not going to put a kid in there, if he's not prepared to play. So, we'll keep. We're only in game 2, and I think Gilmore. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. I think he's the only true freshman that went in and played that particular game. So, as we go along, if need be, then we'll play those guys. If not, they won't play.
Okay, so Doc takes care of all the important questions, and now here's something I want you to hear from yesterday. Malik Thompson, we're talking to him, and I asked him early on in the interview about just waiting. You've got the lightning delay, and we get into that thread a little bit more. I'm there. Grant Traylor from the Herald-Dispatch is there, a few other from the media, and we get to the part where we're just asking, what are you doing? And the thread of music comes up. So I want you to hear all of this in context first. Here's Malik Thompson talking about just the fact that they're playing music. That's what he's listening to. That's what's going on in the locker room while they wait. And then I want you to hear Doc's reply to that. But here is Malik Thompson first talking about the music.
It's music. It's really music, and then you have one area where guys just watch film and guys want to be prepared, stay locked in, but mostly is mostly music and us fellowshipping together, also keeping the juice, also staying being hype, and just us always staying ready, just keeping that mindset. I'm more of a film guy. I like the scheme. I like the scheme against my opponent. Doc's a music guy. Yeah. But yeah, Doc's definitely he's definitely I'll probably say a music guy. He listens to the music. He listen to the music with us, and he likes the music we listen to. Also, he's all in to whatever gets us juiced up. He's definitely all in for it. Nah, he doesn't. He's focused on the game. What needs to be done.
So wait a minute. He likes the same music you guys like?
He doesn't. He kind of does. He kind of likes it, but he listens to it because it gets us juiced up. So he's always down for us.
What do you think he listens to?
He listens. I know Doc listens to some country music. He listens to like a little slow down country. He always says that. He's like, "Yeah, put that on. That's what we need." And I like. And I.
Who's in charge of the musical choices during your pregame?
Oh, Keon. Yeah, Keon is. Keon's the best DJ we got. He's the best DJ ever.
So you got Doc's country, and then you got Keon's
Yeah. Could Doc be like, "Yeah, Keon, somebody take it off. Take it off. Put the country on." And I like it. I like both.
So So Keon's put like a mixtape together? Is he put it on the fly? How's he doing it?
He just really Keon he puts it on the fly. Keon, I'm telling you, Keon's he's good with his music. He has like a little custom thing on his phone where he can like slow the music down, speed it up, all kind of stuff. He's really good. Keon's really good with things like that.
Well, the team DJ is Keon. So he's the one making the mixtapes. He's the one making the music on the fly. And I had to ask that question. I couldn't let that go. Wait a minute. Doc likes the same music you like? Really? And we got to the truth of the matter. He's liking the country. He's probably listening. He's probably on the way home. He's tuning in to Big Buck Country 101.5. He's tuning in, listening to the old country slow jams there. And he got asked about this today. Not specifically the country music part. I should have followed up on that. But Doc was asked about the music because, as you just heard, Malik kind of ratted him out. Here's Doc's response to that.
I want you to know that was the worst thing I ever did in my gut. As you talk about, it's like putting you in a torture chamber or something, having to sit and listen to that for 5 hours. My God. But I told Jacob from now on that, plus the damn speaker was right by the coach's locker room, so that thing's going to the other end from here on out on the away games. I know that. But it was awful.
Put Keon in charge of the locker room music. Gave the set info.
I worry about a lot of things, but I pick my battles. Music isn't one of them. So if whatever they want to play, they can play, and as long as they go out and play well on Saturday, I don't care what the music. I'm going to find a way not to have to listen to it anymore. It was not good. I thought it was ringing in my ears all the way back on that bus ride home for 3.5 hours, but it's all good. It's a happy bus.
Somebody get Doc some noise-canceling headphones, please. Somebody help him out. Do me a favor. All right, when we come back from break, we're going to hear from Alex Millette from yesterday. Also, Obi Obialo. We'll hear from him. We'll make time for your phone calls. 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Don't worry. Paul Swann has the wheel on The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back. It's the Tuesday, September 4th edition. You're listening to The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. We've been previewing Marshall's matchup with Eastern Kentucky, looking back slightly on the win against Miami of Ohio. A couple of player interviews from yesterday. First off, I'm going to talk to Alex Millette. And when I talked to Alex yesterday, I wanted to kind of get a feel for what it was like waiting all that time in the locker room. That was what I was asking most of these kids first and foremost. Just kind of feel for what'd you do during that time, just waiting. And that's what we start off with Alex, and then we'll get into the game itself and looking ahead to Eastern Kentucky. So first up, here's Alex Millette from yesterday.
As far as being in the locker room, it was pretty crazy just because, we were in there for 4 hours, and for 4 hours straight, there was music being played as loud as it could possibly be played, and we were all jumping around and dancing and singing like we were about to go out the next minute. And, we were sitting in that locker room almost we were really, really ready to go by the time we got out there. But, everybody was, it's getting worried just because you're in there you don't know what's going to happen, but coming out there and scoring on the first two drives like that was just awesome to see.
What did you do personally to get ready, stay ready during that?
I just have a good time. I just like having a good time. Me and Levi and Will and, everybody on our team just sit there and dance and sing like we're just stupid, and it's just fun.
Was that what you expected when you went out there finally, got to play, just pouncing on Miami right off the bat? They made a game, obviously, but for that first few plays, you guys really established that, okay, this is our ball game.
Yeah, we prepared every single day since spring ball, obviously with the new coordinator and everything, and we knew what we had, but, it's a new season. They had a lot of, returning starters back, so we didn't know what we were going to get. But, as soon as that first snap came, we're like, all right, let's go. We got this.
What was the mindset whenever they started making it a close game there?
Just come together and just keep going. Do what we have. as a team, this is probably the closest team that I've ever been on. And when they started to come back, no one was, getting on each other. We just came closer together, and we're like, all right, time to go.
That initial surge that you all had and being able to establish the run early, it looked like they started out wanting to run a safety directly over top of Tyree. Do you feel like you got them out of their game plan early by establishing the run?
Yeah. And, obviously we have weapons all over the place. And being able to run the ball and pass the ball, definitely, they can't just key on Tyree, or they can't just try to key on our run. And being able to establish the run early really helped us out, trying to get one-on-one coverage with Tyree, and then us, as you guys saw, throwing it up to Tyree and letting him make the plays.
But you knew what Isaiah could do in practice, but to do it when the lights come on for the first time, did that surprise you? Did you kind of think, okay, that's what he's been doing?
I had full confidence in Isaiah. He showed us every single day, whether he was running with the ones or twos or wherever he was, he showed us every single day that he was ready to go and ready to make plays. And he's always just been he's one of the most competitive people I've ever been around, and he goes to work every day just with the mindset that he's going to outwork every single other person on that field. So I knew that when the lights came on, he was ready to go.
Kept his cool and stuff in the huddle.
Mm-hmm. Great composure during that game.
We sort of look at the fact that there's so many veterans on this team, but you all, and for you guys in the O-line room in particular, you're dealing with the new O-line coach in his first game. You're dealing with the new offensive coordinator. How juiced up were those coaches for this game? I know that players get juiced up, and it's not hard for their adrenaline, but could you see that from the coaches too going into this game, the excitement with Greg and Coach Crames?
Yeah, they were real pumped up. When we have offensive meetings, they're always talking about how excited they are. Greg's always talking about how excited he is to be able to coach us, and I know we've only been with them since spring ball, but we're very, very close with our offensive coordinator and our offensive line coach, and he's almost like a second father to us now. And so going out there and see how excited they were when we were out there playing well, it was awesome.
Is this week now for improvement and not to overlook an FCS team? Eastern Kentucky's got a proud tradition, but do you guys try to get better yourselves this week? Is that what you're at?
I don't think we treat this game any different. I think great thing about Doc is he makes sure that we prepare like we're preparing for South Carolina or any team that we're playing. He just we sit there and we prepare and we try to be our best selves. I think every game is about us, not about the other team. So we go out there and just fight and try to be the best that we can be all the time.
That's Alex Millette, and we finally go to really, I think, one of the more exciting players out there. I can't wait to see more from him. Here's what Obi's had to say. Again, I talked to him a little bit when I was asking him questions yesterday, just kind of get a feel for what it was like having to wait since the delay hit. They hadn't had their, they hadn't just finished their pregame meal, and then all of a sudden, ready to go, and no, you're going to wait a few more hours. So here's Obi from yesterday.
I mean, it's definitely hard, because we've been waiting since the spring. But, the coaches and their strength staff, they did a good job as just giving us food, allowing us to relax, and we just came out, like y'all seen, and just ready to go.
Yeah, talk about that. You wait for hours, and you got to reaccelerate. You accelerate to the point where, okay, we're going here. Hold that back, and then just reaccelerate. And you came out and really established yourself early, both sides of the ball against Miami. I mean, they didn't seem to have that same spark or that same jump that you guys did.
Like I said, we've been ready. We've been waiting for this moment. We all know what we're capable of, and we were just excited, just ready to just show the world what we can do.
Talk a little bit about this week now. What do you want to improve on from Saturday coming in for your home opener this Saturday?
Against EKU, I would say probably just less mistakes, try to play as perfect as possible, and just show the fans, just put on the show for the fans. First home game of the season, just have fun.
How excited are y'all to come back here and finally be back in your home stadium?
We're excited. It's first home game of the season. Been a long time. We're just ready to get to practice and just get to game day.
And what did it say about y'all's team to be able to hold them off there at the end?
We're resilient. We no matter what, we can still get the job done.
And what did y'all learn from that, from that experience?
Just keep your poise no matter what, distractions, outside forces like the thunder and stuff like that. You got to keep playing no matter what.
How do you focus? You personally, how do you focus knowing that I'm just going to have to sit here and wait now? What was it that you were doing that maybe kept you ready to go?
I was just chilling, just listening to music, just on my phone, watching film, stuff like that. We was all really doing the same thing. People were sleeping, stuff like that.
That's Obi, his experience on Saturday. So that's going to do it for player interviews. When we come back from break, we're going to wrap this one up. We'll still have some time for a couple of quick phone calls, so you can get them in at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. We've got more of The Drive coming up here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Just a couple minutes left on the program. We'll be back at it tomorrow. David Kahn's going to join me from the West Virginia Power. We're going to recap the season. He texted me yesterday, season's over. So we're going to do the post-mortem. We'll talk to him tomorrow on the program. And, of course, get your phone calls in. Looking forward to that as we're getting closer to the home opener against Eastern Kentucky, a game you can listen to right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. So the coaches poll is out today, and the biggest loser has to be Miami. They drop to 21st. They dropped 13 spots. LSU, they jumped 9 spots. They right now are number 15. So that was a pretty impressive win by them. Alabama, according to the coaches, still number 1. Clemson's number 2. Georgia is number 3. Ohio State in the coaches poll drops to number 4. Oklahoma is 5th. Wisconsin 6. Auburn 7. Notre Dame 8. Stanford 9. And Penn State 10. I am scrolling down looking for FAU. FAU, are you getting any votes? No. Kentucky got 13 points. They got 13 votes. Okay. That's not bad. Appalachian State got a few points. All right. Cincinnati got 3. Houston got 4. Duke got 9. I'm not surprised there. Not big representation from Conference USA. FAU took it on the chin, didn't they? They took it on the chin. And finally, I know it's week 1, but already start making your bowl plans because Jerry Palm's playoff projection has Alabama taking on Oklahoma and Clemson taking on Ohio State. And where will the Herd go? The Herd is projected to go play in Hawaii on December 22nd as Marshall will face off against Hawaii. Get your tickets now. I think Marshall's going to Hawaii. Is Marshall, are they going to just pack up and say, you know what, we're going to Hawaii? Might as well. Before Christmas, go ahead and do it. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for everyone who checked in today. Appreciate it. Back tomorrow, we'll get you one day closer to Marshall and Eastern Kentucky. For our producer, Gabriel Sellers, I'm Paul Swann. This has been The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Huntington Sports Station.